everyone, it's Sarah. Welcome to Unmuzzled. I am your host. I am so excited about this podcast. So about a week ago, maybe two, I lose track of time. That's what happens when it's the end of summer. We're getting into fall. I'm getting excited for Christmas. I posted on Facebook, who do you want to hear on the podcast? It is very important for me to have people on here that people want to hear from. And interestingly, I got a few messages about the dog aging project. And then I went to research it and my mind is blown. So we have Dr. Jake back there waiting. I'm so excited to get to him. First up, presenting sponsors. Thank you. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a huge yard, they are the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes 5 mess-free lickable treat recipes in 2 sizes for a delightful time with your dog or dogs. Their grab-and-go pouches make warm weather fun and easy breezy. Whether you're traveling, enjoying a long walk, patio season, or family and friend gatherings, Bark Pouch's irresistible, all human-grade treats let you focus on what matters most: time with your dog or dogs and loved ones. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Thank you, sponsors. In there, you heard that people really care about keeping their pets healthy, keeping them around forever. I think as somebody that adopts mostly senior animals that are really like trailing off to the end of their life, I appreciate this project so much. Dr. Jake, I should have asked you how to say your last name before we're on camera, but let's give this to everybody. How do you say your last name?
Ryave. Rhymes with the number 5.
Okay, perfect. Ryave. That's easy.
Much easier than it looks, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I have a million questions and we're going to get to all of it. But before we start, can you just kind of give me your background? Because I'm sure it's exceptional.
Yeah, absolutely. And first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. It's definitely an honor to be here. We're all big fans of everything you do. So like Sarah said, my name's Dr. Jake Ryave. I'm a veterinarian. I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine in 2022. I then moved to Lansing, Michigan to do a small animal rotating internship at Michigan State University. I stayed there the following year for a specialty internship in cardiology. And then I took a position with the Dog Aging Project and packed up and moved all across the country down from Michigan to Texas. And now I'm here at A&M and absolutely loving my job.
So, sorry, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Pittsburgh originally. So I was Pennsylvania for the first 26 or so years. And then we've been checking out the rest of the country, me and my Greyhound. It's been great.
Oh, you have a Greyhound. I'm from Pennsylvania too, but I'm from Lancaster. So I'm from the eastern portion.
I went to undergrad in Gettysburg, so very close to Lancaster. I spent a good amount of time there.
I love it. Pennsylvania people always have my heart because they're, special. That's for sure, in a very good way. So pretty remarkable, I think. You probably went into vet med never thinking that you would be doing something like this. And your mind is probably now blown that you've been in it for a little while anyway. So tell us what this is, because, originally when my friends were tagging it and I was like, well, what is this? And then when I just went to the first page, I'm like, this is remarkable. And I said to myself, I'm never going to be able to get them on the podcast, but I'm going to try. And here we are. So tell us what this is. It's just incredible.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. This is not something I ever saw myself doing. My career path changed 7 times before I got here, but I'm very happy to have ended up here because this really is a very impressive project. So the Dog Aging Project is one of the, if not the largest studies right now going on in veterinary medicine in the United States. It is a community science project, which is really cool. It's not just in the laboratory, in the clinic. Our main scientists are the owners. And so we have about 50,000 dogs right now enrolled in what we call the DAP pack, or the Dog Aging Project pack. And we're following them throughout the course of their lives with annual surveys and follow-ups to better understand the aging process in dogs. And not only aging as far as how they're acting and how they're behaving and how they're moving, but understanding things in the blood and the urine and different samples like that. Even looking at hair for samples, we're looking at measures of cognitive health and physical health, disease and health, and trying to figure out not only how are dogs supposed to age and how can we intervene when they're not aging appropriately. But in the end, if we can make them live longer and not only longer, but healthier, we have a big distinction between lifespan and health span. We can live forever, but if we're not healthy for it, it's not as great. We want to figure out how to make sure that dogs can live not only long lives, but really healthy, happy, and fulfilling lives too. And those are our main goals with the Dog Aging Project.
Yeah, and that's so important to we always say about, it's about the quality of life, not necessarily the quantity. And I think when you're looking at all these different types of dogs, you really are getting like a true sample. And when I was looking at the staff and even the founders, they all have these like incredible resumes and backgrounds in vet
Mhm.
med or research, which I mean, research, I can't imagine being on the research team getting all this data. I mean, they have to
It's
be just like
exciting.
mind blown about it.
It's really exciting. It's very cool to feel like we're at the forefront of some really important stuff, and to be part of the team that's making it happen is very, very fulfilling and very exciting every single day. And you make a great point about the diversity. I always say that if you are doing a survey to understand anything, right, and you go to one street in one neighborhood, and then you take the answers from that and you enact some change, one neighborhood down, one city down, across the rest of the country. Someone's going to be unhappy because you didn't ask them and you didn't get a full representative sample. And one thing that I think is really amazing about the Dog Aging Project is that we welcome any dog into this project. The only caveat to that is it's only one dog per household, but any household can get a dog into the DAP pack, and it's not very difficult to. We want to understand every single dog in this country, and we're never going to get every single dog in this study, but the more dogs we get, the better chance we have of understanding how aging works as a whole. And so we really do encourage everyone. It doesn't matter if you live rural, suburban, urban. It doesn't matter if you're from a high socioeconomic status or a low one. It doesn't matter if you
Mhm.
have a Chihuahua or an English Mastiff. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or what your dog is, whether they're healthy, whether they're sick. We want everyone. We want to understand every part of this process.
Oh no, Dr. Rive said my keyword Chihuahua. So we're gonna get to right now how people can get involved because we're jumping ahead a little, but I know people are gonna want to be asking. So I'm hoping that you're gonna take my 16-year-old 2.4 pound Chihuahua into the program that is literally on his last legs. But can you imagine? I mean, just again, we didn't get him till he was 12.
Sure.
We don't take in puppies. We take in seniors that are pretty broken. So I know, like, I think it's 10, they have to be at least 10 years old, is that right?
They do not. For the DAP pack as a whole, we accept any dog.
Okay,
It doesn't
sorry,
matter how
it's
old they
10
are. It doesn't
year.
matter how young. There are certain different studies within the DAP pack. And so
Got it.
the general overview is that anyone that wants to enroll can get admitted into the DAP pack. 50,000 plus dogs right now, and we're looking to enroll more. They are the biggest backbone of our study right now. Within that DAP pack, then, we have that big circle and then smaller circles within it. And so there are other cohorts that are in the study that will be looking at different things. So that we have something called the foundation cohort that will not only fill out the surveys that we send to everyone in the DAP pack and do the activities that come with it, which we can talk about in a little bit, but they'll also do cheek swabs for DNA samples. And we have a precision cohort, which we've actually completely enrolled at this point. They do a lot of the blood samples, the urine samples. And then we have an interventional cohort, which is our big medication trial. That is the one that is the strictest, requires a dog above a certain age, of a certain weight. But the biggest thing is the DAP pack that is welcome. It's open to anyone. Everyone is welcome. And it's very easy to sign up, get information. The website's already on the screen. It looks like dogagingproject.org. We have all of our information about how to sign up. The biggest hurdle is that you have to fill out some surveys and it can take a couple hours. You can do it over the span of a couple days. So it's not too much of a hurdle. But it's 16-year-old slowing down Chihuahua is still welcome in the project.
If so that was the other thing I was reading. So do they need to be able to physically get the animal somewhere, like to one of the clinics listed, or no?
No, that is
Okay.
exclusively for our interventional trial right now. That is
Okay.
requires visits every 6 months for about 3 years. That is by far our smallest. We're hoping to get about 600 dogs in the end in total
Hmm.
enrolled in that study. They are the along with the precision, but the precision, like I said, has been fully enrolled. Right now, that is our only cohort that requires active recheck visits through
Wow.
our study. Everything else can be done pretty much entirely from home.
I mean, it's just wow, it's so cool. It's just so cool to be able to get this data back. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm kind of like a data nerd. I know a lot of people are, but like it's just and I can't go like I was even reading some of these art and if you guys go on the website, there's so much great info. I mean, I was even reading the article, actually it might have just been a note about euthanasia, it's like saying goodbye. 85% choose euthanasia, which is and half of that is to relieve suffering. So that's a thing, like that's a real thing because dogs are usually probably dying before they're ready to go. Now, the one of the questions that I get asked the most, I think, because I take a lot of senior dogs and also the Cancer Live Like Rue Foundation, is well, how do I know when it's time? And I know like there's so many pet professionals that get that, and it's a hard question, and it's hard. We go through the quality of life scale. I always say you just know because you just know.
yeah. There's
Um,
so many objective ways that we can try to look
yeah.
at it with quality of life scales and with blood tests and with all these different things that you can talk to your vet about. And again, the vets that we work with every day, these primary care vets and these specialists, they're unbelievable, right? But at the end of the day, it's not something that's ever going to be purely objective. There's always going to be feelings involved, as there should be. And so I agree with you. It's something that you just know. Uh, One thing that this project is not going to do is we're not going to publish a paper that says here's how you know it's time,
Right.
because that's not a universal experience, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally. Can you just take us a little bit like behind the scenes of like a day in the life of you? So like what is your normal work day like?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's different every day. We do a lot of communication with participants in the interventional trial that we're doing right now. And so I do a lot of the review of the records that we get from those visits, making sure that their blood samples look appropriate, making sure that we are aware of any sort of health issues that might come up with these pets, just because. One, we want to know what this medication might be doing. We know that it is safe and we know it's well tolerated, but we watch these animals very closely through this study to make sure that we don't miss anything. And I will get in contact with the vets that they see. I'll get in contact with the owners to relay any information from their visits to make sure that they are aware of everything that's happening with their dog. I do a lot of research using a lot of the data that we have. Another thing that's really amazing about the project is that all of the data that we collect and all of the papers that we publish using the data will, if they're not already, be open source. Anyone can access them free of charge. Every paper that we publish is not behind a paywall. Education is so important in veterinary medicine, and especially with what we're doing right now. We want to know how dogs age and how to help them age better and healthier. But if we kept that to ourselves, what's the point of it? So we make it a point to publish everything. And I know not everyone is either used to reading scientific papers or doesn't have the time to read scientific papers. And so our blog online also will have shorter write-ups. So if you are looking for something to read by the pool now that summer's ending before it gets too cold, you don't feel like reading a whole scientific paper, you can learn about everything we publish on our blog posts as well. And a lot of that research, to get back to the question, is stuff that I'm working on. So I'm using a lot of the data that is available to the public to look at different activities that we do with our participants, things about mobility and how that changes as dogs age, looking at the prevalence of obesity. And so I'm writing a couple of papers right now using this data, and that takes up a good portion of my day. And it's something that is very rewarding, and it's a new skill that I'm very happy to be learning this year, is how to do research.
Yeah, it's great. So I wanted to talk, it was mentioning obesity and just like dog food in general, pet food, I should say, because cats should be included in that. But I think there's a lot, obviously, like a lot more marketing now put into, fresh and
Absolutely.
farmer's dog and that doesn't necessarily, I'm not saying anything bad or good about any of that. If there's any potential sponsors out there, but it is one thing to be marketing something, but for it to actually be healthy. And we've heard about raw, and we know kibble and grain and all allergies and all of these issues. When I was little and we were growing up, we poured the Purina into the bowl and that's what the dog got. We also buried our pets in our backyard, which around here is mortifying to people. But I grew up in Pennsylvania,
Sure. I
like
did
this
the
is what we
same. I know it
did.
all too well. Absolutely.
Yeah, farm country. But there's a lot of research on food. I was looking to like on some of the blogs and stuff. Do you have any like just insight on that? And what? Because I'm sure like a lot of what you do is look at food and how much is being fed and what's being
Yeah.
fed and
Yeah,
raw.
we get information from every pet about what they eat, how much they eat, how often they eat. We do have a paper published that looks at some of the different trends as far as um, lifespan and health span and things like that based on how and when dogs eat, which is again a paper that's available to the public. My biggest things with nutrition and marketing, I think about the marketing the same way I think about the grocery stores that we go to for ourselves. Every food that's there is being marketed and they want to sell a product, and it's the same with dog food. uh, and it's almost impossible nowadays to kind of parse out what's real and what's not and what's good and what's bad. And so my advice to anyone that asks this question, whether it's on a podcast or it's my neighbor next door, is I say, talk to your primary care veterinarian. They are the experts in nutrition. They deal with it more than anyone, maybe aside from a board certified nutritionist. They are the ones who deal with it every single day. Whatever they recommend, I would trust them 100%. They have foods that they've worked with for years and years and years and are very comfortable with, and they know it better than anyone.
Yeah, so true. And a great point too. I do feed, I switched our shepherd who we got when he was younger. He's like one of the youngest dogs we've ever gotten at 6, 5 or 6. And we did switch from kibble to a fresher food, just to see. And, he likes it more. He always has liked his food, but you do start to notice a difference when you make these changes. Now, is it cheap? No, it is so expensive to feed your dog like this, and for people that can't afford it, it's tough. And you can't always feed and give your pet the best, which I liked that you said too, that you take dogs and clients from everywhere, low income, high income, middle. It's free to join, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely free to
So
join. It just takes a little bit of time to fill out the surveys. And time is money. People say that, but there's no actual monetary cost to joining. Absolutely not.
yeah, so kind of like winding down here, but what do you think is like your biggest goal and hope for the next? I know it's hard, like people are asking me all the time, like, where are you going to be in 5 years? Dudes, I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow, but like, if you were to look long term, whether it's your personal involvement in this, or as a project long term, what do you kind of see as some goals?
Sure. I can answer both sides of that. So my personal goal is to be a clinical cardiologist for dogs and cats. And this project is very intertwined with cardiology. So I get to work with the cardiology team down here at Texas A&M every day, and they are absolutely amazing. So that's my goal in the end. The thing for the project that maybe I'm the most excited about, since I do so much work with this interventional trial, the trial of rapamycin in aging dogs, I'm really excited to see once we finally get our final data, what we find. We're still very early on in the project. We still have a number of years left to go before we have our final data set. And that's frustrating because obviously we want to know as soon as possible, but it's great because it means that we're following these dogs for a long time. They have at least 3 years in the study at most, and then they'll graduate out of the study. And we have dogs that are coming up on their 3 years, and we have plenty more to enroll, which means we'll start that 3-year cycle for those dogs over again. So this study will be going on long after I've left the project. But I'm excited to see once it's done and once we get the data and get to analyze it to see what this drug does. And my hope is that we see a great effect, but sometimes finding no effect is just as important. Data is data, whether it's positive or negative. And so my hope is that we see something big that can lead into other studies to find out the best dosages and the best outcomes and how we can use this drug to help our dogs age more healthily. But time will tell.
I mean, your job is so cool. It's so
It
cool.
really is. I'm so lucky every day to get to do this, and I can't speak highly enough of the people either. I know you mentioned that you looked at just their resumes and were amazed by what they've done in their careers. And I am too every single day, but I can't speak highly enough about them as people. It is an absolute pleasure to go into the office every day and work with my coworker Taylor, who's the other veterinary fellow in the same position as me, to work with our social media manager and our office coordinator and my direct advisor, who's one of our primary investigators and chief veterinary officer. It is one of the happiest workplaces I've ever been a part of. And it always helps that we have 3 dogs that come into the office pretty much every day. So you cannot beat that.
I mean, honestly, yeah, just the collaboration alone, and also like it says a lot to deal with the public, I think, because I mean, the other thing to note is this is a nonprofit. So just like Live Like Root Foundation, they can take donations. I mean, this is like money well spent. All tax deductible. Please go to their website. Actually, put this
Yep.
back up here.
Dogagingproject.org as well as dogaginginstitute.org.
Mhm.
The donate link through the dogagingproject.org will take you to a website through the University of Washington, which along with Texas A&M is one of our 2 primary centers for the study. So don't be afraid when you don't see a Texas A&M link on that donate button. The Dog Aging Institute as well is funding that will not only go to the Dog Aging Project if donations are made to them, but will also support other research for other projects that we get involved in or want to support as well. So either donation link, if you are able to and willing to, greatly appreciated, will help countless dogs now and in the future.
Yeah, sorry, I should know. So it's only dogs exclusively right now.
Right now, yes, our project is exclusively dogs. There are studies going on right now that are looking at cats as well. Ours is not one of them. The reason that we chose dogs primarily, the main reason is that we know that aging in dogs and humans is very analogous. There are a lot of similarities physically, biologically, even as far as cognitive status, right? Dogs experience a form of dementia as well, just like humans
Mhm,
do. And so
mhm.
we are able to use what we know in humans as a way to guide our studies in dogs. Hopefully, someday, once we have all of our information from this project, we'll be able to then extend it to cats ourselves. But that's not our main focus right now. And there's a group
Mhm.
in England that's currently looking at cats, and they're doing amazing research as well.
And then quick question. So, like, I know anybody can apply, and I know some of the sectors you have get filled up, but really, like, it's open to
It's
everybody.
open. It's
Yeah.
open.
Wow. I
Yeah,
mean, oh, it's just so
it's
cool.
it's really great. It is, and I said this before, and I'll say it again. You, the owners, everyone listening, you are the scientists. We rely so heavily on you uh, uh, to fill out the surveys that you do and do the activities that we'll send out a couple times a year. And you do amazing work, and it literally would not be possible without you. There's no way that we could have a fraction of the dogs that we have if we had to get them all into a clinic and enroll them. And so our hats are all off to everyone that's a part of this project. And we hope that everyone that's involved not only has a fun time doing it, because some of these activities can be really fun to do with your dog, some treat hide and seek activities and
Mhm.
mobility trials where you get to let your dog run and time them. And for us, it's a bunch of numbers. And for your dogs, they're running around for a treat. They're having a blast, right?
Right.
So we hope that you have a good time as a part of this team, and we hope it's rewarding for you to get to help us out and help out other dogs in the future.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have you back on probably in a few months. You'll really have your feet wet then. And then we can see you'll probably have 100,000 dogs enrolled then.
Maybe not 100,000, but hopefully we'll be. Let's shoot for 60,000 next
Okay,
time.
okay,
And
deal,
if we
deal.
if we shoot past it, we'll be super happy.
Yeah,
But no, we have new enrollees every single day,
yeah,
and
it's
so
so
that's
cool.
I can't see that slowing down. And hopefully, uh, everyone that's listening, spread the word. Like I said, everyone's welcome. There's no one that we're gonna turn away for really any reason, unless they don't fill out their surveys. But that's up to you in the end, and we can't force you to do anything. They're not that bad, so don't stress too much about it.
And it's all for the good of the project. I mean, let's be
Absolutely.
real. I mean, they're going to get
Absolutely.
more information if they just fill that out. So, thank you, Dr. Rive. You've been amazing. I really
Oh, it's been
appreciate
a
your
pleasure.
time. I hope that wasn't too brutal for you, right? You tell your
Oh,
social
not
media
brutal at
person.
all.
Great
Not brutal
job
at all.
prepping
I'll
you.
recommend it to everyone I know that might wanna, you might wanna interview in the future, that it's a very, very pleasant experience.
Awesome. Keep up the great work. I'm going to be following you. I appreciate your time so much and have a great night.
Absolutely, we'll keep in touch.
Awesome. Take care.
You too.
Everyone, seriously, go check out. If you don't want to sign up, it's okay. Go check out the website. Just your mind will be blown. There's some deep stuff in there. Even I was like, okay, I need to focus on like kind of the hierarching everything on this before the podcast. But dogagingproject.org. Dr. Jake, thanks for joining me so much. Really just a great guest. Thank you so much to our supporting sponsors. Give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card from Kimberly Kingen Photography. For more details, please visit her website at KimberlyKingen.com or contact her directly at her email, kimberly@kimberlykingen.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thek9pt.com. That's THEK9pt.com. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Check out Anything is Plausible. Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, investors, give Liz a call. She can lend in all 50 states. NMLS number 224526. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. Thanks, Dr. Ryave. See you guys next week.